Alright, what's up, guys? This is my tournament recap for the North American 2021 chess tournament in Las Vegas. Before I get into that, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more great chess videos. I got a lot of stuff planned. I'm going to be streaming a lot too, so definitely check out my stream, Twitch, DaaronChess. So yeah, North American was an interesting tournament. Definitely learned a lot. Started off not so hot with delayed flights, and ended maybe not so hot on the same side. But definitely a lot of lessons along the way, and we'll take them into the next tournament. Alright, so this is round 2 of the North American Open. If you're wondering where round 1 is, very sad story. My flight originally was supposed to take off, I think, Saturday at 6, got delayed at 7, got delayed at 8, got delayed at 9, and then my connecting flight was at like 9:05, so I couldn't make that. So I had to take a first round bye. And what that means is already it's impossible for me to norm, because to norm you can't take any buys. But I still want to play this tournament. I mean, the prizes are good. I had some hobbies on the West Coast I wanted to see, so I was like, all right, let me see these guys. But once you can't norm, it's a little bit different. I could have swerved and went to Charlotte, but I don't know. I didn't want to change plans, and maybe I should have. Maybe I shouldn't have. But anyway, so first round I'm playing Alex Wang, this guy from Cali, I think. And we get a Najdorf. And here I'm feeling really good because I have a very good record in Najdorf. It's a very fun opening. Honestly, one of my favorites. You get some really fun games. And then he went knight d7. And so this isn't the first time I've seen knight d7, but it is kind of an unusual idea and not very common. So there's two kind of approaches here. Castle queenside, and then kind of slow attack, not super crazy, or kind of go all out as fast as you can. I wanted to go all out. I didn't know if he was going to be able to defend it, and generally when you're playing lower rateds, they kind of find a way to get attacked, or once you attack them very fast, it's hard for them to defend. So the proper way to play here would have been castle queenside, and b4. The whole idea is knight a4. Knight a4 is always a move I'm kind of scared to play, because I've had games where they go like queen a5, and at some point go bishop c6 and trap this knight. So I'm always pretty, like, I try to avoid playing knight a4 and just go knight e2. But that would have been the only way to kind of keep the advantage here. These lines are honestly to be very accurate for black and white. Otherwise, the other side just gets a better position. And if I went knight e2 here, I think a5, and now it just looks like his attack is way ahead of mine. I mean, you can even see like the engine gives black an advantage. So I didn't want this position. So what I went with was just g5, which, I mean, isn't actually bad. h4, b4, and then here is kind of where I need to go knight a4. So the theme that you're going to see from, I think, this tournament is I try too hard to stick to the opening, where I miss different ideas. And this is kind of the first game of that, and you're going to see kind of a recurring theme here, where I'm just trying to, like, I always do this in the opening, so I'm always going to do this, and then I get a disadvantage because I limit my views / horizons. So knight e2, and now his attack is just a lot more scary than mine. So I go h5, a4, bishop c4, and here I'm not really worried yet. I'm still like, I'm chilling. I saw this idea d5, and it's honestly a very common one. You see in the Najdorf, you see it in the Con. Whenever they have the bishop on b7 and they push these a and b pawns, their next step is to break in the middle, and kind of unleash this bishop. So I played e takes, bishop takes, take, and then here it's just like, my attack isn't gonna be isn't like a sure knockout, and I mean, he's ready to attack over here. So now I'm also like scared to castle queenside, and I don't have that option anymore. So I go g6. I mean, computer wanted to go, what was it, knight f4, but it's just starting to get very loose here. I mean, actually, yeah, knight f4 is bad. So g6, knight c6, knight f4, and I guess here's where I should have just castled. I mean, h6 I looked at. Let me put this in. So h6, f takes g6. Oh, knight takes. So this. Now, even now it says it doesn't really believe in it, but I guess apparently this is the best way to go. Knight takes, h takes, and take on g7. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does look kind of scary for black. Once it loads, take, take, and then take. But I mean, just very hard to judge here, and this is kind of all in on a sacrifice. Like, you don't really want, I guess, first round against a low rated. You kind of want just an easy game. And this would have been like, wow, this is very, very complicated. Now here the best move was knight g6, but it's the same kind of idea. Like you'll see, let me put in a couple moves. Come on. Do this, take, king takes, and castle queenside. And it's like, what's really going on here? Once again, this just looks way too complicated. Maybe white's winning, or maybe I got some chances. I mean, he's got to play rook h8 here, otherwise I get the advantage. I mean, he's also taken a2. It's just a wild position. I mean, I'm not going to blame myself for really missing this. I mean, I even saw this idea. It's not like I didn't see it. It was just like, I didn't think this was good enough, which I think is a fair assessment. So it's the classic, it's not your fault. Okay, but then here is where it kind of got astray. Now here as I get older in chess, I've matured to the point where I'm like, okay, if things are bad, I will go to an endgame. The problem is, this endgame, I mean, it just looks so bad for white. Like, I didn't have the option to transition here. So you'll see in a sec. So take, queen takes, and then it's just like, this pawn is going, this bishop is a monster, and it's -4. I mean, it's an equal material, but it's just that good for black, with -4. I saw this idea of castle queenside, bishop g5, rook here, and then this. And this I wasn't too sure about this position, because I mean, I get these pawns. I mean, he's gonna get these pawns, and I don't know who's faster or if the rooks are really strong. I mean, it still likes black a lot, so I think I evaluated right. But I mean, this is kind of my last chance. From here, it is just over. So queen takes f3, take, and then so he basically sacks the rook. And this guy is such a savage. Like, he doesn't even take the material, which is insane. Like here, he had a lot of ways to just like win the rook or win the queen, but he just went for the straight mate, which was like, wow. Yeah, this, and this. I mean, honestly, like, did I do anything really wrong here in this game? Not really. I could have played it slower. I could have castle queenside. As far as blunders, there's no real blunders. Allowing bishop f6 at some point was tough, because then this bishop is just such a monster. But really, like, nothing like crazy bad on my part. So just a tough first game, I'd say. So I wasn't like super upset about this game, because it wasn't like I just blundered or I missed something like simple. It's just a tough game, and sometimes that happens. So now I gotta go to round 2 and rebound after this. Alright, so this is round 3. I'm playing Evan Ziao. This guy's like maybe 2,000 FIDE. It's gonna be my guess for everyone, about 2,000 FIDE. And this is Asian opponent number 2. Which you're going to see is another theme from here. So we have a Tarrasch, my Morozevich, bishop e7 line, and I started whipping out g5. I play a5 a lot too, but I wanted more practice with this, and I was thinking against lower rated, let's make it a bit more wild. So still traumatized from round 2. I didn't know if I should play more solid, but I was like, let me not change anything yet and just see how it goes, because second round the guy played a good game. All right, so this is all theory. And which is something amazing here is I play training matches with my friend Gunnar, and we actually have had this position, and I got railed maybe twice, at least once, and I ended up looking it up. What to do here is black, and then round 3 against like my first black game in the North American, I got the same exact position, and this is exactly what you dream of when it comes to training matches and preparing your openings, getting positions that you know the answer to because you looked them up from this kind of resource. So here, move is take, queen takes. This is all kind of theory. Knight c6 and f5. And I mean, here I'm good to go. I've seen this before. I know what I'm supposed to do. This is when I start. I guess I'm officially kind of out of book, because I've seen this position but never played it. But already here, like, black's got a kind of a nice advantage, and I was happy with what's going on here. So b6. I don't know if this is a bit rushed. I think probably bishop f6, rook b8, rook c8 first. The timing was a little bit off, but I had all the right ideas. So this here. Now g3 is this cool idea. Bishop f6, slow playing it is what the computer wants to do. But the idea with g3 is, okay, now he has to take, and now I can just hammer this g file and the h file. So I kind of get a free attack, and he kind of has to sit there and take it and defend. And the other key with this is I go b5 next to lock down the queen side. Now with the queen side locked down, I have at least like 5-6 moves where I get to just attack this. And that's kind of what happened here. So So bishop c1, bishop f6, rook d3, and his pieces kind of start moving just back and forth, not really coordinating well, and that gave me time to really accumulate like a very, very strong attack here. So rook g4, bishop e3, and now h4, which I think is all kind of, so queen e8 is what the computer wants, or queen d8, and so you just keep slow playing it. And that is something, another theme you're going to see from this tournament, is a lot of times it was better just to slow play a tiny bit more, but then sometimes you got to explode. So the timing was a little bit off this tournament, but oh sorry, h4 is what the computer wanted. So this take, and apparently this position is just -5, which is kind of crazy because it's just equal material. Or I might even be down a pawn. 2, 4, 6. I'm down a pawn, but it's -8. I mean, I guess queen g4 is just very, very strong. But these are the kind of positions I gotta start, I guess, finding, because it's not like I'm missing winning tactics. It's pawn down positions that are -8. All right. Anyway, so I go with the slow build, and now I go h4 to break through. And then yeah, just over here, overall pretty good. And okay, a5 was clutch. A5 was clutch, and I could have seen this idea before. But the idea is he's frozen over here, and once I go a5 and a4 to move this knight, now d4 becomes a huge problem for him. And I mean, honestly, here just beautiful attacking. I was pretty impressed with this game. Maybe my best game of the tournament, which I guess isn't saying too much. All right, so rook h2, queen h8, take here, and now I kind of break through. And here is there's a cool rook f1 finesse move, where basically it's like his only counterplay is f5. And let me just take it away, because he just basically has no moves here. He has to go queen e2 and basically, I think, sack the queen or something. But I mean, I go with a4, just normal stuff. I saw this idea basically with f5. He's just trying to open some lines to get his pieces going. And here, knight takes d4, knight e2, and knight takes e2 is the move here. For some reason, I wasn't really looking at him take. Okay, so I got it. I looked at him sacking the exchange, but I completely missed. He can just go queen takes here. Not that this is like bad, it's still like -3, but I kind of missed this idea. And what would have been cleaner, but also pretty hard to see, is take, and then d4. And after this, I just go queen e4, and he's basically cooked. This rook is about to get trapped. I'm breaking through on the king set, or just to his king. But I missed his queen e4 idea, which I guess would have been nice. Alright, but knight b3 still is pretty good to go. So this here and here, and now here I have two options: queen e6 or king g6. And my thought here is his king is weak, but my king is kind of weak, and I think it's just better to trade queens and not have to deal with, like, his king can get saved pretty soon, and I don't want to have to deal with a weak king because it's just going to be a pain. So if I have to choose between the two positions, I'm going to take the simpler one, one where it's just going to be easier to calculate. So take here, and I think he misses this idea of, okay, so here the idea is, okay, so if he pushes, I go king here, and I'm going to go f4. f4 is going to block out this bishop, but also get this pawn going so that I can try to queen. So rook f1 is a very important move, and I think he misses the idea that if c7, I can just take the knight. Because if he queens, I have rook check, and I pick up the queen. So after this, bishop h4, and I just rook check here first, and now it's just kind of game over. Take everything, and then he resigns. So honestly, round 3 was a very nice pickup game. I remember I had a headache all game this one too. Just first night, official first night in Vegas. But honestly, just played super well. I mean, I got the position out of the opening that you want, found a nice way to transition to an attack, finish off the attack, missed a couple slow moves, could have cleaned up a little bit better at the end. But I think this game was a very good comeback game after the first loss. Alright, so this is my round 4 game against Brian Shi. It's an evening game. I've actually played this guy before. I played him first round of Chicago last year, and played a really nice game, but then ended up blundering it and losing, and then having just a very not so good tournament. So I was like, all right, let me get revenge here and also turn around this tournament. So I decided to whip out the Leningrad Dutch. I was studying it against specifically the London because the bishop's on f4. So h6 g5 is going to be faster and stronger. And I was like, all right, this guy probably prepped for me. I know he's an e4 player, so he doesn't play much d4. So this is already kind of getting him out of book. And he did kind of play slower here. Not that he played worse or anything. He still played a really good game. But I felt like I got him out of book kind of early. All right, so h6. basically I'm just getting to push. And one thing you'll see is every single game is black, I went g5, and I think I even went g4, which I think is kind of funny. But I always push these g pawns. Good or bad, I don't know, because after this tournament, I was like, I don't know if I can be playing like this. So anyway, here I'm just maneuvering my pieces. I think our favorite Ginger GM, Simon Williams, has a very similar game in this setup, and I was kind of inspired by that game, and that's where I tried to play this opening based off. So g4, and here knight g5 was probably the better move, but really hard to kind of judge because it looks like he's losing this pawn on g5. But there's just so much going on over here that once he blows up the center, it's worth it. Like I can't even like really properly take this pawn because I mean this position is just such a mess for black. So that's what he should have gone for. I mean, once again, theme of this tournament is just very tough, weird games. So knight d2, he starts playing passive, and this is kind of when I start, I think, getting momentum. So knight b5, a6, and he had this move knight a7, which I think I saw, but I misjudged, because I was like, okay, I just go like bishop d7. But then, okay, actually all of this is falling apart. And if take, and he kind of just invades the position, and now these pawns are more liabilities than they are kind of advantages. I mean, I guess tough to say. So instead, so queen a3, rook b8, rook c2, and I can't still take here because he goes queen a7 and this rook is trapped. So we don't want to do that yet. So I go queen d8. I saw some cool variations, some other stuff with like rook here. I think I wanted to go like knight f6 or something, but he would go rook here and it was really messy. So I just went with queen d8. Knight c3, push him back, and now b5. This is when I started feeling, okay, I think I'm starting to get better here. Because then now I also threatened b4. He's got to move again. And bishop d7. And this is actually proper slow playing. I could have taken on h4, but this. Because now there's ideas of b4, queen a5. So b4, queen a5, and then bishop a4, like this. Now, I guess not here yet, but I was just keeping that in mind. And I was like, all right, I can always take this pawn. The other reason I'm not in a rush to take this is if he ever just goes bishop g3, let's say like here, bishop g3, I just go bishop f6 and I'm going to get this pawn. So this pawn isn't really going anywhere. I got plenty of time. So now I take, and as I say, I have plenty of time. I go ahead and take. And then here I think a very important move is e5. So it looks kind of sketch because I don't know if my king is really safe yet. But once I go e5, his pieces are kind of dominated. The bishop's cut off, the knight has no good squares. And I also always have ideas of taking here or just f4. So e5, a very important move. So bishop c4. Obviously, I can't take this because the rook goes. But here, I just keep it simple. Rook c8. Let's trade. Trade. So this, here, take, bishop here. And then, I mean, honestly, all just played very beautifully here. Take the pawn. And the idea I missed here, okay, and also here, I was being kind of lazy. I was like, I'm completely winning. Got the two bishops. His pieces suck. Let me just keep it simple. And I was kind of tired. Kind of had a headache still from the morning round. So I decided to play it kind of lazy. But here I can just go king f8. And kind of what I missed here is kind of this idea of not this one. Of honestly winning his piece like this here, and trying to go. Like let's say all the way here, but b3, he takes this, h4, and then take, check in here. This is the idea I missed to kind of keep that position going. And apparently this is just completely winning for black. I mean, you win the bishop, so obviously it's completely winning. But I didn't want to go that far. I was just like, all right, let's just keep it simple. Let's trade. And I missed knight g3 like an idiot. And this is where I kind of felt stupid. I think instead of here, I can just move my king. And these two bishops are still like really strong threats. Okay, but rook f8. And the computer here is such a savage. Here it wants to go f4, take, and then e4, and take, and now take here. And what it's saying is basically this pawn is too fast. And this is why this position is still so good for black, and why honestly these are kind of all the best moves that I played. Even here, it's like this is okay, but f4 is kind of the idea I need to see. So instead I go king f7. And I'm just, all right, let me bring my king in and try to get that pass pawn. And he had a moment to actually get a drawish position. So here, king d3. And apparently here he's just kind of holding. So b3, knight here, b2, and then now I don't even know if I really have solid winning chances. It's about equal, and his pawn is a little bit stuck, not gonna lie. But he goes knight f2, and then b3, and then here it's kind of easy, because even like here, like I can just go opposite kill bishops, and these two pawns are just impossible for him to stop both. And funny enough, here he offered me a draw, and I'm like, bro, after I take this, I cannot lose this position. Like, why would I accept a draw here? But it's the classic kind of kid draw offer. Maybe he'll take it, maybe he won't. But after this, you just go here, you walk the king in, and his king, like these two pieces can never stop both pawns. At some point I win the bishop, and then I'm going to go here and finish the job and win the game. So honestly, this game it's just complicated. Just a lot of crazy stuff on the queen side. Do I want to keep going g5, g4, h5? Probably not. I think I learned here it was more a positional game than an attacking game. And you don't want to go g5, g4 if it's positional. It's just there's too many weaknesses. But I went 2 out of 2 day 2. So now I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm like, all right, now if I win one more, I'm back in the driver's seat. I get to play up actually, and then we're in business. All right, so next on to I think round 5. All right, so now I'm playing round 5 against Andrew Wang. Alex Wang round 1, Andrew Wang round 5. I know that's a boomer Wang. So terrible joke. I guess Sicilian, and I mean, talk about related themes. The Wangs like the Sicilians. So I got a Rosalimo. This is all. So here I wasn't sure, do I need to go h3 or castle first? Now if he goes bishop g4, it's actually having good to find out. I think you just ignore it. So this, let's say here, and then here, and it's fine. I guess it's not that big a deal. Alright, so anyway, so I go for this, and there's like some Magnus games here where it's just kind of simple. You go bishop h6, you go for f4, and white gets a pretty relative, like, easy position, easy attack. So I take, knight e2, maybe a bit rushed, but I think it's fine. And then, so I saw this idea of d4, because he has the bishop, so I want to avoid open positions. So d4, take, knight takes, and he can't take here because I have this knight f5 check idea. But I was like, what if he just moves king g8, and now, I don't know, it just seems kind of loose. I mean, the computer wants to go rook d1 here, let him take and just go rook here. And it's like, I'm down a pawn. Is this really like better for white? So, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, just a very tough position to evaluate. I guess it's better for white, but even if I could do it again, I don't know if I'd go into it. So I go rook here, which honestly, this is where I kind of realized, like, dude, this attack's not working. And then I kind of went deeper and deeper in with g4, like very committal moves, which is the problem. And then this is where I was like, all right, we tried, it's not going to work. I need to switch gears and not try too hard to win. Because I've been here before where I tried too hard to win, push all these pawns, there's nothing there, and now he just picks me apart. So this is when I switched mindsets, went into defense mode, and I was like, all right, I'm going to wait for my moment. So just b3, and now here just simple moves, nothing complicated. Queen b2, trying to get some pressure on this diagonal with f4. He goes here, I go queen a3, which is an annoying move for him. And now knight f3, push him back, and then queen b2, and then knight e8 I thought was kind of slow. He wanted to do this, and then here, which makes sense because if his knight gets to f4, honestly, I'm in trouble. I guess it's not good for me there. But I have this idea of b4, which kind of shakes up his queen side and doesn't make it simple for him, because if he takes, then d4 is going to be really, really strong. Like here, and then all this opens up. It's a lot for him to calculate. So I know he wanted to avoid it too. So he goes knight c7, take, queen c3, and now I start getting some counterplay. I target the c5 pawn. I have it's almost like a backwards pawn. I got an open file, I guess isolated. Open file against it. Let me get this guy. And now he goes knight f4. And this is kind of the critical moment, and I'm very low on time here. Maybe I've got 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Even honestly, it's unacceptable. I should not be getting this low on time. And I was really close to going queen trade, but I was like, there might be some stuff here with d4. Let me keep queens on for a sec. So this, and then this is where I really need to pull the trigger. Now it's a very scary move to make with like 2 minutes left, because I was like, all right, if he takes here, I go here, and I'm going into this, which is what really scared me. I mean, I thought I was fine. I am fine, but just very scary positions to play when you don't have much time. And okay, if take, I think knight takes, maybe this way. Okay, maybe this way, because I now have all these discover attacks. Yeah, something like this, and this. This is also very scary to play. And I guess he had king f7, which is a move I missed. But even here, I mean, it looks like, what, knight f5 or something should be working? Queen h2, and like, it's very easy to make a big mistake here. So I was trying to avoid this. Even if I wasn't in time pressure, it looks a little too risky. So just king f1, and then he kind of takes the, I guess, the easy way out. So this here, and here he offers me a draw. Now, do I take the draw? I don't know. If I can get something going, it's going to take a long time. Like, I have to go f3. I have to get my king to a better square, and then I have to go d4. If I do all those things, then I can start pushing for a win. But it's a lot of what ifs, and yeah, I don't know. It was a tough game, and I was definitely a lot worse before. So coming away with a draw, it's kind of the more mature decision. And as I get older, as I get more, I guess I don't want to lose kind of vibes. I'm like, all right, let me take the draw here and live to fight another day. So not terrible decision, maybe not a great one, but I think in this situation, I'm not gonna say it was like I really regret it. So that's round 5. So I think the math here is gonna be kind of crazy, but I think I'm like 3.5 out of 5 here, 3.5 out of 6, or 4 out of 6, something like that. So I'm still doing like decent in the tournament, and I'm like, all right, if I win the next game, I'm back in business, and hopefully I'll play up again. So remember, Asian opponent number 4, and Vegas is definitely starting to catch up. All right, so this is round 6 against Hiangxing Li, Asian opponent number 5 rounds so far. So I've actually played a game with him before. We played in Philly International, and we had another Stonewall Dutch. And I saw, so the first time we played, he went knight h3 and did this stuff. But I saw after bishop b4 check, I think he goes knight d2, castle, knight f3, and this is where I tricked him. Because here you can transpose into a normal Stonewall Dutch with d5. So d5, castle, bishop d6. And c5 isn't really a move here, because I just come here, and now this pawn is weak, and I can go b6. So normally they just go b3, and now it's just a normal thing. I think I sacrificed the tempo with this and this, but the knight on d2 isn't necessarily better here. And now his knight's on f3 instead of h3, which is a position he hasn't played as much. So this, I kind of do normal stuff, and you know me, as black, I gotta go g5. Now, do I have to do it here? I don't know if this is quite necessary. Let me put the engine on. I could have just gone bishop e8, queen e7, bishop h5, but I saw him going like this and this, or f3 and e4, which aren't really kind of a thing. But I went g5. I was like, he was spending a lot of time too, so it's like, let me make the game interesting. That way he kind of burns more clock. So just like small little things I'm thinking about here. I mean, okay, I guess this is fine. Knight h5, queen c1, h6 would have been the way to slow play it, but I didn't feel like I needed to. And f4, it seemed like this is always like, it's still non-committal, because I can take or I can push, and he can never really take this, because it just helps my position. But he goes bishop a3, take, which is a very common idea against Stonewall Dutch, for them to go queen c1, bishop a3, to kind of just expose all these dark squares. But I was I was still happy here. Bishop g6, rook d1, knight g7, and now I'm just kind of consolidating my pieces, and I get rid of my bad bishop. So this knight d7, and here's where I thought I was doing really well, because I was like, okay, if he takes, I take, and now I kind of have time to set up everything and just get these pawns going, and I don't really see any concrete way for him to break through here. Not that e4 was like amazing. I take, knight f5, just transition into this position, attack this pawn, and I think this position is pretty solid for black. So queen g7, take, and I really wanted to go e takes, but what's kind of scared me off was, I mean, he goes f4, and he's got these 2 pawns and these light squares, where these 2 pawns, the only way I win with these 2 is if I win these 2. Like these are, I'm never gonna push for at least like 20 moves. Whereas these, it's gonna be it's a good big question. Like if you can push them, then I'm just losing. So I go c takes the safe way out. Knight d4, knight c6, which is a cool maneuver, just blocking the c file, but also putting pressure here. He has to go f4 to support it. And now the simple kind of variation was just take, and then move the king out of the way, and this is weak. Now here it wasn't super clear, because I was like, alright, my king is kind of weak too, so I don't really know for sure if this is going to be winning or not, so let me not go into it, but I should have gone for it, because d4, and this is the variation that I saw, so this, rook here, and knight c2. But then I realized in my calculations, he has rook d7, and then I'm just cooked, because I'm not going to win the exchange. He's going to move the rook, and now he's just so deep in my position. Like, this is just GG for black. So I basically decided to pull back at the right time, and I just took on f4. He takes here. I go rook c8. Here, take, and then just king h8. I wanted to go rook c2 here, but I think he has rook f1. And, I mean, it's still equal, but it is pretty dangerous here for my side as well. Alright, so king h8, take, and we get this position, and for a split second I was like, oh my god, I'm winning, because he has to move his king, and then I get to checkmate him back here. But he has rook d1. I think even king h2 is fine, because he always can block with the rook these horizontal checks. So this, check, so I win a pawn, but he's going to get it back, and now we get this position. I have this pass pawn, and honestly here I could have just taken the draw. I think my friends just came into the game, and I was like, do I take, or do I actually try to play for the win? And I was like, I came all the way to Vegas, let me play for the win, or at least like keep it going and kind of see what happens. So I went queen e2 check. Now a big question was, is this endgame actually winning? And what really decided for me was he's got the outside pass pawn, or the outside pawns, and there's honestly more chances I lose here than I can even win, so it's not even worth going into it. And it was the right assessment, because this is just honestly better for white. At some point he pushes these two, and then he's gonna come collect. Why would I go into that when right now here I have top position? So I kind of check a bit, and I try to get this pawn going, but it's just way too easy for him to get perpetuals and just keep checking with the king. So here I take the draw. Honestly, day 3 not as good. 2 draws against lower rated. I mean, was I ever winning in any of these games? No. Was I better? Maybe I had a couple chances I could have gone for. But just, honestly, once again, just tough games. The classic is not your fault. Once again, obviously, another Asian opponent. And we just move on to the next round. So round 7. Alright, so this is round 7 against Derek Wu. And what was annoying about this game was we've played so many training games, so many games in Najdorf. It's not even like I have white anymore, it's just I have Najdorf. And we're going to see what's going to happen, because he knows what to expect, and I kind of know what to expect. When he went b5, I was pretty happy, because normally, especially online, I just go for this f3, bishop e3 generic setup. But in tournaments, I have this other line prepped with queen f3, which is the more sharp, kind of just complicated way to go. I mean, it ends up being a good and a bad thing, where it's like, it's complicated for him, it's complicated for me. And it's honestly, I guess the better chess player wins, but you can get caught in some tough positions. So, queen b7, castle queenside. Queen b7 is, I've seen this move, I've analyzed it, but move orders here are very, very confusing. So it's more I kind of know the ideas. You go knight d5, or you go kind of g4, g5. Like, these are all the different ideas here. So he goes bishop d7. And here, okay, another problem was I was spending too much time trying to remember prep, where I wasn't just looking for, like, alright, how do we play chess here? And if I was looking for chess, I would have found just g4. This, and then this. And then this. These positions are honestly going to be pretty fun, where I think I'm on the better side of the attack. Actually, even here, I think it's +1 already. Or, yeah, pretty close to +1. So that would have been an idea, but also e5, something I definitely should have seen. Because if take, knight takes, take, and knight takes, he has to go bishop c8, otherwise I grab the bishop pair. And, I mean, I think I'm just a lot more comfortable here. I can double up. Obviously, this is by no means winning here, but a very nice, comfortable transition I could have gone for. f4, f5, trying to open up this, or just double the rooks and just take the d file forever. Those would have been kind of some simple plans in that position. But I remember rook e1 in my prep, and that's what I was looking at. So knight c6. And here's where you gotta calculate like a million things. Like the whole time I'm looking at knight d5, I'm like, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? G4 I didn't really think about here. Maybe I should have. And I went with bishop g5. But there was this idea of this, and here. And let me show you guys this crazy line. So take, bishop g7, check. And I saw all this, and I was like, oh man, if I go take here, and then take, he has bishop h6 check. I'm cooked. Maybe I have perpetual here with check. King here. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. I can just force a draw. King a5, and then queen d2 check. But this is actually winning, because where is it? Here you can go rook d3. So rook d3, king c8, rook c3 check, and then rook c6. And this is the winning idea. And I mean, it'd be honestly really cool if I found this, but you gotta have some cojones to play this OTB. In this position, I'm down a piece, sacrificing a rook, and I have 3-6. I have one pawn to show for it. One pawn and good pieces. And I mean, if anything goes astray, I'm kind of cooked. But honestly, it is a very tough position for him. So it goes take here, and then g4. Like, this is not some easy stuff to see. This is not your your average everyday kind of like positions. So I mean, am I kicking myself for missing it? Not exactly. If I get in the game again, am I gonna do it? I don't know. It's just, it'd be cool if I found it, but man, that stuff ain't easy to see. And I was looking really hard for these kind of variations. I saw knight d7 and I missed queen g3. That's what I missed with this variation. But this is when I realized, like, don't blame the opening. I was like, in my head, like, wow, this position is just too hard. Like, it's impossible for me to find like how to win. Like, I should have played d4 and got a king's indian or something. But in reality, there's a lot of stuff here, and I just gotta be better. Now, is it easy to be better like this? No, but this is why you play the same position. You learn the ideas, and next time at least I'll have a clear idea of, okay, knight d5, and I can do all this stuff. Or I have queen g3 in some variations, or g4, g5. So this is why, honestly, stick to openings, stick to the same thing, and just get real good at it. That way you can see the stuff. So I went for here, bishop e7. Now queen g3, castle. I mean, I guess I kind of saw this idea, but I was scared off by this. But I have e5, so I think white is doing okay, but once again, very scary. Just not easy games. I will say 100%, like, none of these games are easy. So I go for rook e1, this, and then take. I was really hoping for g takes, because I think g takes queen h5, which is lights out, because how does he guard this, and bishop takes e6, and then also rook takes d6 and some ideas. But he played bishop takes, and honestly, just very good thematic stack. And so I'm up a pawn, but he's got the two bishops, and I've got this to worry about and this to worry about. So obviously, I mean, he's got more than enough compensation. He's even better here, despite being down a pawn. So the castle, queen g4. I'm looking for a bunch of bishop takes e6 ideas, and then like queen takes. Yeah, I'll show you guys. Let's say like rook here, bishop takes, pawn takes. I thought I had this. Oh no, and he's rook f6 at the end. Crazy. But apparently I have knight d5, which was another idea I was really looking at too. And taking on f6. So I would have had that idea here, but king h8, very good move. Just don't have to worry about any of it. Queen h5, and now it's really coming. And part of me really wanted to go take, but I think, yeah, queen c7, and now the attack is just way too much. I have an exchange and 2 pawns for the piece, but the dark squares, the queen side, is just a mess. So I was really looking for like transitions out, so I don't have to deal with this crazy position, but there's nothing there. So rook h3. Bishop takes e6. I kind of go all in on the attack. Now the question is, should I have gone rook h3 first? And what spooked me was, okay, so h5, take, rook takes, and I thought at some point he can go bishop h6 check, and then like queen g7, like. Maybe not in this position, but here in queen g7, and now he's just solid. I mean, obviously the bishop's hanging right now, but at some point I was worried about this, so I was like, alright, let me not give him this bishop h6 check idea. So I went for this, rook h3, take. Okay, so actually here. So this is kind of critical position, but it's 2, 4, 3, 6, 7. So I have 3 pawns for the piece, but he's got the 2 bishops, and this position is just so loose. The bishops are about to, I don't know, just run through everything. So this, I take here. Obviously, you can't go queen takes, so take on h7. So bishop e5, rook takes g6. I have my fourth pawn, but after here it's already basically over, and everything is falling apart. And honestly, good conversion by him. And it went on a couple moves, but it was over here. So I mean, tough game for white. I did have once again a couple moments, but it really would have taken something special to see those. But I guess you got to be special. I mean, that's why you train. That's why you practice. That's why we play all these games. So next time we know what to do. So I mean, a fun game, could have been better. And after this, it's basically must wins. If I don't win again, I'm really not playing for anything. So this game was definitely like the dagger 3 in my tournament, because now it's must wins, and especially the Najdorf getting cracked twice. Like, I never lose in the Najdorf. Najdorf is definitely one of my stronger openings, and just really good games from black, I'll have to say as well. So now on to round 8. All right, so this is my round 8 game against Zoey Tang, Asian opponent number 7. The streak never ended, and I like to always say I got stuck in China this tournament. So e4, e6, d4, d5, knight d2. We have a Tarrasch. So bishop e7, knight f3. Let me get this engine on. Once again, this line I'm seeing a lot. I'm definitely getting better with. And then once again, I was like, all right, should I go a5? I mean, g5. I got like a beautiful game. Round 3. So let me go for g5 again. So take g4. Take this all, and then rook e1 is a new move for me. Obviously not like something crazy, just normal move. Then I go for h5. I guess here I want to go knight g6, and then basically try to take on c5. And if this, yeah, this, and kind of honestly just kind of a crazy position, h5. Now queen f6, and try to cast the queen side, and then rook g8. So the plan here would be boom, boom, and then something like knight f4, knight h4, and I think I would get a pretty decent attack from that. So next time, that's probably what I'll go for here. But I went for knight, so h5, knight b3, knight g6. So honestly, similar ideas. And here, honestly, I thought I was winning. So I played e5. So this would have been the better move. Honestly, once again, just what's going on here? What kind of position is this? Like you said, always g5, g4 when I'm black. Every single game on cue. Okay, but this is what I saw. So e5, and I thought take, and then after this, if they take here, I go king takes, and now I'm winning. Oh my god, this is actually losing. I was like, I'm up a piece here. This should be okay, but this is terrible. And also, instead of this, they have c6, which is also losing. So now I'm like, oh wow, I missed this. So I guess after take, I will go knight takes, take, and then yeah, just take here. But this looks really loose. And honestly, this is where I started realizing this position is not as good as I thought. Now she played knight f5, which honestly was another good move. And I was like, all right, d4, and then take, and I missed this idea of take, and then bishop g5, and I was like, okay, I have f6, but then take, and rook h7, but then just queen d3, and I'm dead. This diagonal is just killer. Everything goes, it goes with check, life scores are just 100% compromised, and I would have been toast here. So that's when here I realized, oh my god, now I have to go bishop takes pawn. And I'm bobbing and weaving pretty well. So knight g7 check, king e7, you can't go here, because they have this knight e6 check, which would have been a heartbreaker. King e7, check, f6, and I'm like kind of nervous here, but also I think I was like, all right, I think I made it through, because I saw all the variations, and she goes queen g2. So apparently here knight ge6 is really strong, and I thought I just would go like queen b6. So let's see what's going on. b4, wow. All right, so queen b6. Come on, computer. Queen b6, take, b4. What a move. Because now if take, wow. I mean, this is some crazy stuff. But this would have been the winning variation, I guess, for for white. I mean, you could tell there's going to be something crazy here just with her pieces and my king. But not easy stuff to see. So she goes queen c2, king f7, and then I think here's where I really consolidate. So this, queen here, everything's defended, and I get my classic knight versus bishop endgame, which I'm always a big fan of. And I should have just gone queen e6 here. I was being a little bit greedy. I was like, all right, now that I'm better, I can start taking my time. But I should have just gone for this, and then probably push these pawns, trade off the rooks at some point. That would have been the plan here. But I go rook d8, take, rook d8, and I was like, this endgame is probably just winning. But apparently, she can just go take, and here. And I'm just like, oh, h5 is the problem. Yeah, I definitely underestimated h4. And I can't even take this because I lose the knight with check here and check. So just insane position, insane tactic. But okay, take. She goes queen c2, and here I knew I should have kept it simple, and just gotten take, and then here. And if she tries to go chasing this pawn, like this is actually really dangerous for her. And then queen d7, queen d7, because she's got to stay tied to this and tied to kind of all these back rank ideas. And maybe if, I mean, honestly, she probably would have seen it. She's playing pretty well, but very easy to make that mistake for white. So I went queen b4. Now my idea here is like if a3, I go queen takes c4, or no, I go queen takes b2 because of back rank. But she played g3, so take, and then here, I mean, I tried this position, but honestly, it's just really drawish. The last way to kind of try to get advantage here is go d3. That way her king can't get as deep, and I don't have to worry about this pawn because I always just go e4 and f5, and you can't touch those, and her king has to stay at bay because the knight guards these squares. But even this, I think, is just a draw, because how do you make progress here? I guess knight c7. Maybe there's some fancy way. Knight g5, knight here. So that's what she's got to worry about, but she can just watch it. And bishop f6 is a real heartbreaker because now there's no kind of squares for me to go to. Instead, it went king here. And I do have to be worried about these pawns. Like, if by somehow these pawns get all the way, I'm actually just losing. So that's where like I had to balance that. And then here, she found a good move, king here. I thought at first I go here, and if take, I can push. But I missed that she had this idea. And then it's just not worth it going to this race when her king is way more advanced. Even if I win the bishop, even then, I'm probably just fighting for some knight versus pawn draw, and that's not worth it. So king d3, and here I just decided to repeat. So, I mean, overall, what do I think about the tournament? I would give myself like a solid C from this tournament. I wouldn't say I played like particularly bad. My opponents played well. They played solid. Just tough positions. Honestly, like that's a big thing. Just very tough. Not easy positions. No, they just walked in their prep and you were better. It was always like, it's a battle, it's a struggle, like, there's nothing easy is going to happen, which is not what you want in Vegas, where, I was definitely tired, and that's actually why I withdrew the last round. If it was in, like, Texas or Philly or somewhere else, I would have just gotten a good night's sleep, and then played the last round, because I'm very anti-withdrawing, but to have to do another 10 a.m. round, to have to do another night of basically no sleeping, like, I would have just put myself in a very bad situation. So I was like, all right, let me call it here. We're going to study. We're going to make sure that we improve and find different ways to get better. And just don't put yourself in those situations. Like this, I mean, the Vegas tournament was just very tough overall. I mean, coming in, having to take a bye first round, missing the first round because of just flight problems, not even mine, not being able to norm. Then seeing all my friends that I haven't seen in so long. Just like really like close, good friends that like we haven't seen each other in years, so once we were hanging, it was like, all right, I gotta hang out with these guys. It's been forever. So yeah, that was Vegas. Next tournament will probably be Texas, the Southwest Class, mid-February. I think Valentine's Day weekend actually, which is kind of funny. So that'll be the next one. She's gonna be grinding, doing matches till then. Once again, the tournament, it is what it is. You just gotta learn and take the punches, roll with them. Be ready for the next one. Alright, so hope you guys enjoy this tournament recap. I know this is the first not so super happy sunshine and rainbows one in a while, but Texas is going to be really good for sure. Alright, hope you guys are entertained.